Welcome to Casa Academy Chapter 3, Part 2, where we will cover real estate license law and commission rules. If you're prepping for your state licensing exam, you're in the exact right spot. We're going to take that somewhat confusing alphabet soup of state agencies and break them down into crystal clear, bite-sized pieces. By the time we wrap up, you'll know exactly who's in charge of what, and more importantly, you'll be completely ready to tackle these concepts on test day.
So, here's our roadmap for building our regulatory pyramid. We've got Florida's top regulator, the DBPR. Then, day-to-day operations with the DRE. Next is rulemaking and discipline under FREC. After that, we'll go inside the FREC membership and finally wrap it up with a regulatory pyramid recap. Let's get right into it. Section 1, Florida's top regulator, the DBPR, or Department of Business and Professional Regulation. Starting at the very top of our pyramid, I want you to picture a massive umbrella. The DBPR operates directly within Florida's executive branch. It was created under Florida Statute 455, and it oversees a huge number of professions across the entire state. We're talking about everyone from cosmetologists to veterinarians, and yes, us real estate professionals. And since they are the ultimate regulatory authority for the state, it makes perfect sense that their principal offices are headquartered right in Tallahassee. Now, a massive state department needs a rule book, right? Like, how does it actually operate and process things? Well, it's highly testable for you to remember that the DBPR's administrative procedures are governed by Florida Statute 120. This is commonly known as the Administrative Procedure Act. So if you see an exam question asking what statute governs the procedural aspects of the department, you know immediately to look for Chapter 120. At the helm of this enormous regulatory umbrella is the Secretary. Because this is an executive branch department, the Secretary holds a very powerful position. They are appointed directly by the Governor of Florida, and then that appointment has to be confirmed by the Florida Senate. This structure ensures a high level of accountability at the very top of our pyramid.
Moving on to Section 2, Day-to-Day Operations, the DRE, or Division of Real Estate.
Stepping one level down the pyramid, we move geographically from Tallahassee down to Orlando to find the DRE. If the DBPR is the giant umbrella, think of the DRE as the engine room doing the actual day-to-day heavy lifting for real estate regulation. Operating directly under the DBPR, the division handles education, licensing, and compliance for real estate and appraisal licensees. Their entire mandate? Enforcing Florida Statute Chapter 475. And as you've seen throughout this course, the primary purpose of Chapter 475 is always to protect the public. By statute, the division operates out of Orlando.
Now, examiners absolutely love to test you on this exact contrast. We just established that the head of the DBPR is the Secretary, appointed by the Governor, but the head of the DRE is called the Director. The DRE Director is appointed by the DBPR Secretary, and then that appointment must be approved by FREC, the Florida Real Estate Commission. Make sure you don't mix up who appoints the secretary versus who appoints the director. It's a classic trap.
Ultimately, the director serves as the day-to-day manager of all these crucial regulatory operations, keeping the division running smoothly. Oh, and before we move on, your verification code is 125125. So remember, when you think of the director and the division, think of daily management and paperwork processing.
All right, Section 3, Rulemaking and Discipline. FREC, the Florida Real Estate Commission. If the DRE handles the paperwork, FREC is the administrative agency holding the disciplinary gavel. The Florida Real Estate Commission is fundamentally responsible for rulemaking and disciplinary actions related to the profession. Basically, they're the ones who look at the laws passed by the legislature and translate them into specific, practical rules for licensees to follow. They also act in a quasi-judicial capacity when a licensee happens to violate those rules. The members of FREC are appointed by the governor and confirmed by the Senate, which is just like the DBPR secretary. But here's a really fascinating fact. Despite their incredible power over licensees, FREC actually has literally 0 employees of its own. Crazy, right? They rely entirely on the DRE staff to do all the administrative work and process their files. The commission itself just meets once a month in Orlando to conduct business, review those files consistently and fairly, and make their rulings.
Let's jump into Section 4. Inside the FREC membership. Knowing exactly who wields this tremendous rulemaking and disciplinary power is crucial, which brings us to the specific composition of the commission. The commission is composed of exactly 7 members, and they aren't traditional state employees.
Instead, they get a daily allowance and expense reimbursements for the days they are performing their official duties. But who actually are these 7 people?
Well, here is the exact breakdown you must memorize for your exam. Out of the 7 members, 4 have to be highly experienced real estate brokers who've been active for at least the preceding 5 years. This just ensures the commission truly understands the practical realities of our industry. Then, 1 additional member must be an active licensee, either a broker or a sales associate with at least 2 years of experience. The final 2 members are lay members, meaning they are everyday consumers not involved in real estate at all. They're there purely to represent the interests of the general public.
Furthermore, there is a very specific age requirement you need to watch out for. To ensure Florida's significant senior population is properly represented in real estate matters, at least one of these 7 members must be 60 years of age or older. So, how long do these 7 commissioners actually serve? They're appointed to 4-year terms, and they can serve a maximum of 2 consecutive terms, which means 8 years in a row. However, if they take a break, they could absolutely be reappointed because there is no limit on the total number of non-consecutive years a commissioner can serve. Finally, Section 5, the Regulatory Pyramid Recap. Let's put it all together. We've thrown a lot of distinct acronyms at you today: DBPR, DRE, FREC, so let's lock in this hierarchy so you don't get them twisted on test day. The DBPR is your overarching authority, located up in Tallahassee. Beneath them, the DRE runs the daily administration and paperwork down in Orlando. And finally, FREC acts as the judges, handling the rule-making and discipline, relying on the DRE's staff to function. Understanding how these 3 interact is absolutely essential for your licensing exam. As you prepare to ace your exam and launch your real estate career, I want to leave you with a quick thought. When you finally hold that Florida real estate license in your hand, which of these 3 entities do you think you'll interact with the most? Will it be the overarching department, the daily administrative staff, or the rulemaking commission? Understanding their distinct roles right now isn't just about passing a test today. It's about knowing exactly who governs your livelihood tomorrow. You've got this. See you in the next lesson.